Hey there, friends. So by today, we should have a really strong draft or two of some of the chapters that we've been doing. And I think that, you've probably moved at a pretty fast pace to get here. Having a draft is really great. It's important to get your ideas down. And I know that you've been really thoughtful about the ideas that you've had. But what most good researchers know is that their first drafts are not often the best drafts. And it pays off to make big revisions to the draft that they wrote so that they can check and see, is this the best way to present the information, or is there maybe a better way? One way that we can do that is by re-examining text structure and thinking about whether there's a better structure that fits the draft I'm trying to write. Today, what I want to teach you is that good researchers will look at the drafts that they have and re-examine them, asking, is there another way this could be written? Then they'll try that way out and actually get a sense of which one they think is better, even sometimes going to some of their partners for a second opinion. I wrote a draft about my frogs and toads and about how they're in danger. One of the things that I'm really wanting to think about is whether this is the best way to write it. So I wrote my draft using cause and effect. I said, unfortunately, there are fewer frogs and toads than there used to be. Some people think the reason is that houses and factories have been built where frogs and toads used to live. Other people think that the water pollution has killed most of the frogs and toads. I'm naming a lot of causes and effects, but as I'm looking at this, one, it's kind of short. Two, this gets at some of the stuff that I wanted to say, but I don't know if cause and effect is the best way to do it. So I tried it again as a problem and solution paragraph. It got a little bit longer. Look at and note the differences, and maybe we could decide together which one's better. Unfortunately, there are fewer frogs and toads than there used to be. One reason could be that houses and factories have been built where frogs and toads used to live, or that water pollution has killed most of the frogs and toads. Lastly, special groups are trying to make laws to keep frogs and toad habitats safe. You can help too by participating in cleanup days for areas that have frogs and toads. Friends, do you see the difference there? Right? In this one, I was only able to talk about the big problems and solutions, or the causes and what their effects. But in this other one, I was able to not only say problems and some of their effects, but also some solutions that are out there. Which one do you think is better? I feel like this problems and solutions one is, and you may have thought differently, and that's totally fine. The idea behind this is that you are trying to decide for yourself which gets across the best information. For me, I really want this chapter to be able to be a tool that my readers can use to actually go out and do something. So I'm going to use the problem and solution paragraph, but I'll ask some of my partners to double check and see if maybe that fits in with everything else, or maybe if they have some of that information in their chapters too. Today, friends, go off, look back at your drafts, and try them out a different way. If you are super committed to how your draft looks right now, that means that that's a draft that you'll really want to think creatively about trying in a different way. Even if you don't end up choosing the second draft or the second version of writing it with a new structure, sometimes it pays off to really get a sense of some of the new ways you could present information. If anything, you might even end up adding a sentence or two to your old draft and just adding a little bit more because it sparked a new idea. You'll probably want to reference or go back to any tools that you have about text structure to remind yourself of how things could go. After you're done, check in with a partner. See how your two drafts compare and if they have any opinions about which one they think is better. You can add that to your own to choose the best drafts for your project. Friends, some of you may still be drafting. Others of you may be ready to do this. Regardless, write like the wind today. We've got a lot to do before the end of this research book is done, and there's not too much time left. Off you go, friends. Best of luck.